the panel interview, and we'll wait to see if we're going live here. Looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Team Cheeky panel. I have with us Vino. Hi, Vino. Maria. Hi, Maria. Mira. Hello. Great to see all of you on. So today we want to talk about some point of view or perspective mistakes that PhD make in their job search. When you need a job, first of all, you're waiting until you really need a job. And so you're focused internally on yourself and the fact that you need a job urgently. This is a common mistake. And what we want to do is kind of reframe you to see how you are coming across. Sometimes this is called a professional brand or personal brand. See how you're coming across, not just your brand, but your actions to employers. Are you taking your audience into account? Are you taking the context of the current economy into account? Some simple things we've been talking about recently is there is a labor shortage in industry right now, and this has driven demand for PhDs in industry up, right? But because you're in academia where demand is very low, lots of PhDs and academic salaries are lower than they've ever been, there can be a disconnect, right? So having some of that understanding, being able to change your perspective, understand this, the context can help. This is something that we've been talking a lot about, and we're doing a big event on Tuesday, May 11th called the PhD Graduation Bonanza. Right? There is a bonanza, as in a lot of opportunity in industry right now. May is a prototypical graduation or convocation month. More PhDs defend in May, and more of them have their hooding ceremonies, right, or their robing ceremonies in May. So we're doing a big event on May 11th. So check out information online about that on our social media pages. But here we want to give you some practical advice on how to change your perspective during your job search. We're going to start with resumes. So Mira, how does a PhD see a resume versus how they should be considering it from their audience's point of view?
Yeah, as I am. So resume is like, it's the marketing document. As from coming from academia, we want to highlight our academic skills, and we want to talk, go volumes over what we did in academia and those kind of things. But on the contrast, the employers really want to see our accomplishments. They may not be PhDs who have that kind of background, but they want to see how you fared well. How did you learn the transferable skills that you can bring to the company? They don't just want you to go on about your research. They want you to say the applicability. How did you make it applicable, and what can you bring to their company? So yeah, so that's a perspective difference between that of PhDs and that of employers.
It's a very simple shift, right? If you still have education at the top of your resume, you're leading with that because that's important to you. Employers want to see your professional highlights and a professional summary. They want to see your experience, your work experience. They want to see your accomplishments. It's not even what those accomplishments are specifically, so much as that you understand to speak in terms of accomplishments. We all know, as PhDs, we've all gone into the margins of a document and decreased it to get more information on it. We're the only people who do this. Don't do this on your resume. Lots of white space gaps. The people reading your resumes, especially the initial gatekeepers, don't have PhDs. Okay. They probably don't even like reading. The average time on a resume is 5 to 7 seconds. So consider that. Consider your audience's perspective. Think about it in terms of the context. The context is an industry job search, not showing off in academia. So Maria, same is true for networking, setting up informational interviews, right? We might get in this mode where we want other people to help us do the work for us. So we get up our nerve to reach out, right? And then that's it. We don't make it easy in any other way for our audience. We think that the audience or an employer or an employee we're talking to for an information interview, they're going to take it from there, right? They're going to reply to us, say, oh, let me help you, and rush in and schedule everything. But this isn't the case. So can you talk to us a bit more about this?
Yeah, that's actually right. I mean, when you network, you want to give that person something in the first place. If you share just that you need something, they will not be open to help you in return. So you have to share that you are open to help in the first place, and they will be open to help you in return. And to do that, maybe one thing that you can do is just to give them a couple of times that you are available to talk with them. Maybe give them a couple of papers that you can talk with them about, a couple of topics that you can talk with them about. just to set up something like a plan for your discussion if you want to go to a call with them. And maybe that would be something that sparks their interest and will help them to see that you are really interested in their opinion, their help, and also their career, because after all, you want to learn more about them. It's an informational interview, it's not an interview. So you want to learn, to gather information, to be able to share to the next interview that you have that information, you have that network to support you in your career in the future.
Absolutely. And on a very practical level, the way that you're reaching out to people is putting all of the work on them. It's putting the impetus on them. Like they have to reach out back to you, try to figure out what you want. If you're scheduling a call with them or a further discussion, you're making them have too much guesswork. What does this person want? What are they interested in? When do they want to meet? They're not going to come back to you with times to meet. You got to give them times to meet. You got to tell them the topics you want to discuss and make it simple. Congrats on the new job at XYZ. I'd love to learn more about how you got hired there and what you enjoy about it. Time dependent, topic dependent requests. Make it as simple as, if you're asking for an introduction, write out the introduction. You've probably had your PI or professor agree to give you a letter of recommendation and they asked you to write it and they would sign it, right? Why? Because it makes their lives easier. You want to do this for your audience when you're the one searching for a job, right? You have to add value in that way. Add value first before you get value. So to carry on with that, Vino, we were talking about interviewing before we started this panel interview, and right, how from the perspective of the PhD, an interview can be very different than what an audience actually cares about. Maybe it's less technical skills, more transferable skills. You had some other ideas on this too.
Yeah, absolutely. While I was interviewing for my team, whether it was in Bain or KPMG, this is actually something that pains me, and it still does to this day, because I see someone with a bachelor's degree carry themselves a lot better than a PhD. And I'm usually the only PhD in the hiring panel. So I'm just like, where do I even put my face? So that's why I'm like here all the time. And we're all here as a team to tell you that, once they see their resume and you're invited for an interview, they have a broad idea of who you are and whether you'll be able to do the job, right? They want you in to see whether you can fit into the culture of the company, the culture of the team, or the kind of personality that they're looking for the clients that they have. So if they're talking to you about the weather, or if they're talking to you about something that's happening in the news, for example, don't tell them, yeah, sure, but I have expressed protein X via this recombinant method and it's freaking impressive. They don't want to hear about that. If they're talking to you about these things, it's okay. Indulge them, have a conversation with them, because if you're having a client-facing role, they want to see if you can build relationships, if you can nurture relationships, and if you're able to bring that client across a sales cycle, which impacts a company, which is the revenue of the company, right? You're not going to build relationships with clients if you're talking about a recombinant protein that the clients care nothing about.
Yes.
They want to know that you know how to establish, you understand the pain points of the clients, and you know how to solve their problems. You do that by communication. So if someone's interviewing you about something, not on your PhD work, and they're talking something about the weather, it's okay. Talk to them. Of course, not all interviewers are going to be speaking about just the weather or something outside of the technical skills that are required for the work. If they speak to you about the technicalities of the work and they want to see how good you are, in that sense, of course, go through with that. But don't go in with this mindset of, okay, I'm just going to push something that I have in my mind and this is all it's going to be. No, like, be open, be prepared, research your interviewers, research your companies, research the products, and research the role that you're going to go into. But at the same time, if they speak about nothing about that, don't get caught off guard.
Yeah.
Because they're testing you on other things as well.
Yeah, great insights. I mean, very often as PhDs, we want to get to the results or like what we want to say even more than other people. And so if a hiring manager starts telling a story or gets off topic, we feel this sense of urgency or impatience to bring it back to data results. You have to understand that academia has skewed your perspective. It has given you a different set of social norms that will prevent you from getting hired in industry, because industry has another set of social norms. You know how to interact with PhDs better and better by maybe discussing things more logically or linearly. You know how to pick apart arguments, avoid confirmation bias, etc. But it's come at a cost, right? You've decreased in terms of your sociability. Your social skills have been hurt, certainly according to the social norms of industry. You have to realize this. No matter how gregarious you are, how much of a communicator you are, how extroverted you are damaged in this area by academia, by just the amount of resources you were able to give to everything, right? You had to give a lot of resources to becoming better at being critical of data and better in terms of logical arguments and writing papers. So it's time for you to get back, right? A big part of our programs, or we give you this behavioral practice to learn to communicate and to talk, to carry a conversation. An employer is not going to hire you if you are a risk of embarrassing them.
Yeah.
Hiring manager, recruiter without a PhD, if you can't carry a conversation, you're the awkward or arrogant or defensive or one-dimensional PhD, they're not even going to put you in a lab at that company, okay? Let alone into some sort of PhD level management position. Vino.
Isaiah, I just wanted to come to you. I'm sorry to interrupt you right there. And this is something that you speak about in your videos in the Facebook group, like the Tuesday teaching points, etc. That sometimes you get questions where the employers, or at least potential employers, they will try and stress you out. They ask you really difficult questions, or they sort of appear busy, or they don't want you there. This is they want to see how you perform under stress, right? Sometimes clients will tell you straight up to your face that, hey, what you're saying is wrong. I'm not going to change my tried and tested methods because of your recommendation. If you're in consultancy, I get that all the time. And they're going to put you in a corner, right? So you need to be confident of your skills, and you're a PhD. Remember your values, what Isaiah says all the time, remember your value, because there's a lot of truth in that. You know your material, but if they're trying to put you under stress, it's okay. Like, chill out, just take a moment, walk through whatever situation you're in, because that is part of the interview as well. Yeah, I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
That's good. Yeah. So again, see it from their perspective, why it's important for you, a top PhD hire who's going to be paid a top salary, to be able to carry a conversation, to be able to command a room. Even if you're getting an R&D job, a behind the scenes job, you're going to have to deal with a client. Guaranteed. They're not going to pay for a PhD who they can't put in front of a client, whether that client's a researcher, a clinician, a KOL, or otherwise. So hopefully this helps you. Remember, the PhD graduation bonanza event, 75% off any of our individual advanced programs. There's 20 in our portfolio now, as well as 70% off the Cheeky Scientist Associations. One day only, Tuesday, May 11th. We have a lot of fun surprises. We have a VIP page open on our website right now, the top banner. Go to cheekyscientist.com. You can learn more about it. Remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional. Thanks all. Thanks, panel.